Welcome back to the channel for some more Madden 22 content for you guys today. And today I'm going to be going over my top 5 teams to use in Madden 22 franchise mode for the season. Now, I'm not going to announce the team I'm going to be using yet, but I will wait until it gets closer to Madden 22. But instead, let's just get right into the teams. So the first team I have is the Houston Texans. Now, we all know why. Deshaun Watson leaving the Texans. The whole point of that franchise is to trade Deshaun Watson, because we all know he is not going to be coming back, obviously. And you can get a lot for Deshaun Watson. And what I would recommend, if you are doing it, is doing it in a offline franchise where you can go in as other teams, and if you do the trade, you basically give yourself as much value as possible, because I could see Watson getting traded for about 3 first-round picks and like 2 to 3 star players. That's something that will happen once Deshaun Watson is traded. And you can do it in franchise mode by just going on to another team, obviously, because in Madden they don't have more trade slots, which is something they need to add. But if I were you, I would just kind of cheat a little bit to make your franchise a little bit more immersive and fun and realistic in that way. And the other positives are left tackle Laremy Tunsil. Laremy Tunsil, it's very hard to get good old linemen in this game, and having an 89 left tackle is amazing to start out with. Brandon Cooks, he's going to regress pretty fast. He's a little bit older, but he's good to have for the start. And positions you are going to have to probably replace very, very fast is the running back position, like Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson, and Mark Ingram, for that matter, because Phillip Lindsay isn't really a real number 1 running back, in my opinion. Neither is David Johnson and Mark Ingram at this point in their careers. So you're going to want to replace running back. You're going to want to replace a lot of positions, and trading Deshaun Watson will help with that, such as getting 3 first-round picks. That way you can help build your team up. This team will have to have a lot of changes happening to them in order to become a winning team again. And not many of their players are in the 80s, only a couple of them, just a few players. And yeah, so let's head on to our next team. The next team I have is the Philadelphia Eagles. Fletcher Cox at a 94 overall. I do think he's a little bit overrated right now, but outside of that, he's still good in this game. I just think he's a little bit higher of an overall than he should be. But the rest of this team does need a lot of work, other than the offensive line for the start. The offensive line is obviously something that is very important in Madden, and having such a good O-line at the start will be very, very helpful to helping you rebuild your team. And you can decide to go with Jalen Hurts, or do you want to trade him and do a package deal to trade for someone like Deshaun Watson, or from all the assets that you get from Carson Wentz, the Carson Wentz trade, you can trade and draft a bunch of players with the first-round picks. Now, the Detroit Lions are a team completely in full rebuild mode, as their highest overall player is a center. Now, that's not terrible to have, but he's only an 88. And then you drop down to TJ Hawkinson at an 85, Michael Brockers at 82, Flowers an 81, and Fox, their punter, at an 80. Majority of this team is in the low 70s to mid 70s, so no one in the 90s, just a couple 80s players, and basically all 70s. So this team is kind of in full rebuild mode, where running back DeAndre Swift, obviously running backs, and I keep my franchises realistic. I don't sign running backs long term unless they're very, very good and very, very valuable for me. But that is a position you're going to have to decide in the future of Swift's contract. Jared Goff is not a quarterback of the franchise in Madden. You're kind of want to replace him in the future. You're going to want to replace a lot with this team, and it'll be fun to have a new head coach to play with, unless you like to create your own coach. Now the Dolphins. The Dolphins is another team I am very interested in for doing a franchise just for fun, not for YouTube, because I have already found out my team, but this is for you guys. So Xavier Howard is kind of one of those players who's on the move. He has requested a trade to get out of Miami, and that is something you can do in your franchise, as do you package a deal to get Deshaun Watson like the Dolphins could have possibly done? Use Tua, Xavier Howard, and a couple first-round picks and get Deshaun Watson, a quarterback. And you also have Jalen Waddle now that they just drafted. So you have the young Jalen Waddle to build around on this team. The team is a little bit younger and is very close to... They're a playoff bridge team, so they're not far from the playoffs. They're very, very close from reaching it. They're just a couple little key pieces away. And I personally would keep Tua, but you can always use Xavier Howard in a big trade. And the next team is the Denver Broncos, which is the last team. Now, this team is a little bit older than you would think, having Von Miller, and just this team is a little bit older overall. And you do have Patrick Surtain, but Von Miller and Kareem Jackson and even Bryce Callahan, they're not on exactly the younger side of the football. They're a little bit older, so this team is kind of in a win-now mode. You decide between Teddy and Drew Lock. You can use the players like Von Miller in a trade for someone like Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, even though he said he's going to stay in real life, like I said, but it's your franchise. You can do whatever you want in your franchise, but it's kind of in a win-now mode because those players will be regressing and retiring very, very fast. They probably only last like 2 to 3 more years in your franchise. Bryce Callahan may last a little bit longer than Miller and Kareem Jackson, but again, they don't have very much time overall, and the team is decently young on the most part of it, but the better players on the team are the ones that are aging. And even like Alexander Johnson, who kind of just came out of nowhere, is already like 30 years old. So my point is this team is already up there in age with their star players, superstar players, whereas their younger players that they have aren't so good. Obviously, you have Jerry Jeudy to help build around, Patrick Surtain. But the quarterback position, in order to reach the playoffs, is something you're going to have to try and figure out right away and as fast as you possibly can. So that's basically it for this video. I know it wasn't a very good video to do, and it wasn't very interesting and fun to watch, but I will do an updated version when it gets closer to the release of Madden 22, and I want you guys to let me know what team I should do for a franchise. I'm only going to do just a little short franchise. I might do a Face of the Franchise series when Madden 22 comes out, because I want to start my franchise after the September update has come out. So I will announce my franchise though on the day that it releases. So I will announce the team when Madden 22 comes out. What I will probably do is I have some videos planned. I'll basically go over the new features in franchise mode and show off everything, and then maybe start a Face of the Franchise series just temporarily, since it's nice and quick and easy. I can do a series for you guys until my franchise is released. But if you guys want me to do a temporary franchise, like a fantasy draft or like an actual rebuild series, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next Madden 22 video. But for now, peace out.